عليكم everyone. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على الرحمة المهداة محمد بن عبد الله. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكيها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Once again, a pleasure and an honor to be here amongst my brothers and sisters upstairs, alhamdulillah. And I think this time the topic is very serious and very, very important. Okay? Because unless we really invest properly, in our children, then we're going to stay where we are and we're going to remain where we are, and we're going to be backward and we're going to be at the back of the human caravan. Okay? So getting this topic is very, very important. Now I think the title itself, subhanallah, the brothers who chose the title, I think they put their finger on the nail, so to speak. Investing in our children. Because most of us, we invest for our children. We don't invest in our children. There's a big difference. You work hard, you earn money, and you say, I'm doing this for my children. In that case, you're investing for, you're not investing in. To invest in your children is to prepare them for the future, even if it means you spend all the money that you get on that. But to invest for them is to leave them a big fat current account, to leave them property, to leave them, that is investing for. And unless we invest in our children, then we're not going to get it right. But the question is, I've got many questions for you, and believe me, most of what I'm going to say is because I got it wrong. I am a father, I have 4 children. A lot of my education was based on this stuff. I worked with the youth for many, many years, I still do. And I am, as the introduction, I am a counselor, and I deal with problems in relation to youngsters and in relation to children. So, inshallah, I will start off by asking, when does our investment in our children start? When does it start? Does it start when our first child is born? Does it start when our unborn child is conceived? And I tell you, it starts long before that. It starts even before you choose your wife. Okay? Most of us, when we choose our wives, if we get the chance to choose our wives, most often than not it's chosen for us, and that's one big mistake. Okay? But if we can choose our wife, then we most often choose someone who's beautiful, someone who, for whatever reasons, we don't think that this woman that we're going to marry is going to be the future mother of our children. Okay? And sisters, the opposite is true. When you marry, you must think that this man you're going to marry is going to be the future father of your children. And therefore we have to choose based on that. Once a man came to Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, and he complained to Umar ibn Khattab that his son is unfaithful to him. Okay? Umar ibn Khattab orders his soldiers to go and bring the son. The son comes, and Umar ibn Khattab asks him, why are you unfaithful to your father? And the man asks a very important question, the young man. He says, "O Amir al-Mu'mineen, O Umar ibn Khattab, do children have rights on parents?" How many times have you heard that? We always hear that parents have rights over children. Have we ever heard that children have rights over parents? A strange question. Do children have rights over their parents? And Umar ibn Khattab did not have to think. He said, yes, children have rights over parents. Don't just bring children in the world thinking that you have no rights over them. No, they have rights over you. And the man then asked, and what are those rights? And Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, he said, first, he must choose his mother carefully. Okay? Look at us today. Many of us in our community, we marry a woman from back home, wherever that is. She doesn't know how to speak English. She doesn't, or he doesn't know how to speak English. Okay? They don't know how to use the tools of the day and age, the internet and things like that. And this mother, even though she may be a good human being, but she is not fit to be a mother here in the UK in this day and age. Why? Because let's imagine that she has to take her son to school. Okay? Parents' evening. She cannot communicate with the teachers. The father is busy working in the factory or wherever, and the mother doesn't know. The child can play her around his finger because he knows how to use the internet, she doesn't. Okay? So she's not really fit to be the mother of that child. That's the first thing. Apart from the fact that maybe she may not even be knowledgeable in religion so that she can teach him. That's the first thing. Choose carefully. The first investment is to choose the proper mother for your children. Or, sisters, to choose the proper husband for your children. That is, if you have the choice. Okay? The second thing, Umar ibn Khattab says to the young man, is to name him, to give him a good name. To give him a good name. We have to choose the name of our children carefully. We may be giving our children a stigma, a problem. We may think that this is a good name, but maybe it's a good name back home. Maybe it's a good name for Libya, or for Pakistan, or for Bangladesh. But in this country, it may not be a good name. And this child is going to have that name, and he's going to go to school, and the children will bully him because of his name. So instead of giving him a push forward because of his name, you've given him something that he will bear the burden of for the rest of his life. Okay? I have come across people who have very strange names. Wallahi, in some cases there were people who are called A'udhu Billah. A'udhu Billah. A sister from Malaysia, she called her son Sharrul Bariyah. Sharrul Bariyah, the most evil of humanity. If you must name him Khairul Bariyah. Okay? And sometimes we choose names, especially for our daughters, that are inappropriate, that may have a sexual connotation, that may have something that is indecent. Okay? So we have to choose carefully. Give them, if they are sons, we must give them a strong name. A name that they can be proud of, a name that fit in this country. I'll give you an example. One of our great prophets is called Sheet. Would you name your son Sheet in this country? Would you? Of course you wouldn't. Okay? So not all good names that come from the Arabic language or from our religion or from our culture means that they are good names for our children in this country. So the next investment is to invest in the name of our children. Choose carefully. And subhanallah, a young man, child, maybe he was 7, 8 years old, maybe a little bit older, 10, 11. He wanted to get a pet, a guinea pig. Before he got the pet, he went and bought a book about the pet to read about it, what sort of food it eats, how to take care of it, what to expect of it. Is it nocturnal? Is it active during the night, or is it active during the day? Does it need certain environment? Likewise, when we have a child, a human being, not a pet, a human being, we should find out how to deal with this child. We should find out what this child needs to grow healthy and strong and capable and sure of himself. Okay? Choosing and investing in the name is very, very important. Our Prophet ﷺ, he says that كُلٌّ لَهُ كِفْلٌ مِنْ اسمه, that everyone has part of his name and his character. Okay? So if you choose a bad name for your son, that bad name will reflect in the character of your son. You have to choose a strong name. Research the names, find out. Ask people who know, is this a good name? Is this an appropriate name? Would this name be suitable for my son in this country? Unless, of course, you plan to take your son somewhere else. If you want to bring him up in this country, then you have to choose a name that is suitable for him in this country. That's the second most important investment. The third most important investment, as Umar ibn Khattab says, is to educate him, especially Islamic education. Okay? To teach him properly. Once I was invited to give a talk about Isra and Mi'raj in a complementary school. Okay? And I spoke about how the Prophet ﷺ ascended to the heavens with Jibreel alayhi salam, and they met Isa alayhi salam. When I said they met Isa, this is an Islamic school, a complementary Islamic school. The children in front of me were all Muslims, sent to this school by Muslim parents. So it came to my mind, I asked this question, I said to them, what's the relationship between Jesus Christ alayhi salam and Allah? My children raised their hands, I picked one of them and he said, the Son of God. Where are his parents? Where are his teachers? Forget the children, your wives. Your wives, do they know how to read Al-Fatiha? A man heard the khutbah in a major city, and he couldn't wait for the time when he has a holiday to go back to his village. And when he went to his village, he asked his mother, he said, Mother, ever since I opened my eyes in this world, you have been praying. When you pray, what do you say? And she said, I say, Allahu Akbar. Oh Allah, I've harmed no one. Oh Allah, I have done no evil. Allahu Akbar. She doesn't know how to read the Fatiha. Whose fault is it? Whose responsibility is it? The father? Yes, but also the husband. Yes, and also the children. Okay? Because if I marry a woman and I don't help her to enter paradise and she doesn't help me to enter paradise, what use have I of her? Okay? And I see many cases where the father is one thing and the mother is another thing. The father, maybe he goes to the mosque, the mother doesn't pray. What sort of influence will she have on the children? I need a mother, I need to choose a mother for my child who can teach him Islamic education, Quran, and therefore the great scholars, if you have heard of the Shinqit family in Mauritania, the Shinqit family are world-known famous scholars, including Muhammad al-Daddu. Okay? Now when the child is born, his mother attends to him. He stays with his mother until he reaches the age of 7. By the age of 7, he has memorized the Quran and Sahih al-Bukhari. From whom? From the mother. And then he moves on to the father for Islamic jurisprudence and da'wah and other stuff. Okay? The mother, she puts the basics in him, educates him, gives him the essentials. Okay? Education is very, very important. And then when you choose for your a school for your child, investigate the schools. Is this a good school or is this a bad school? Is this school famous for bullying? Is this school a good school? And you put them there, even if you have to pay money. If you can afford it, of course. Okay? This is investing in your son. Now, I know I don't have much time and I want to cover a lot of things, so I'll just go quickly. One of the things that we don't do is spend quality time with our children. Okay, I have come across many people who work 2 jobs, young men who got married and have 2 or 3 children. They're working very hard, they have a proper job, and then they have a sidekick job where they're trying to make extra money. Why, ya akhi? Because I want to save money for my family. Good, alhamdulillah. But don't forget that by the time you are ready, your children would have grown old. And you have missed it, finish. They don't know you, you don't know them. I told you the story, this story from before. A good friend of mine, a very important beacon of the Muslim community, okay? Very important man in Manchester. He's from Pakistan, good friend of mine. One day he said he wanted to go on a road trip holiday to France. He took his wife and his son and his daughter. And when he came back, I asked him, and by the way, he's from the UK Islamic Mission. And when he came back, I asked him, brother, how was your trip? And he said to me, Abu Sondes, by Allah, there was a man living in my house and I didn't know. Who this man is? His son. Because they went on a holiday, a car trip holiday. There was no internet, there was nothing, so they got to know one another, the father and the son. How many of us don't know our children? Sometimes people come to me and say, I have this problem with my son. I don't know where it came from. Suddenly, bang, it's on top of my head. No, not suddenly. It was brewing for a long time, but you did not pay attention. You did not see it coming. It was there, okay, it was growing and growing and growing. For example, someone might say, my son is a drug dealer. Because you were not aware of his friends. You were not aware of his environment. Maybe your son needed money, you didn't give him money when he needed money. And like his peers, he goes, they spend money, they buy things, he can't. So what does he do? He does something that is haram, that is illegal. That's natural. And therefore, we need to invest. Another proper investment, which I think is very, very important, is to give our children a sense of being confident. Confidence is very, very important. And we don't do that. And you know when this starts? From when they are babies. Okay? The minute your son can choose, for example, you want to buy him a t-shirt. Ask him, which t-shirt do you want, son? Do you want the red one, or the blue one, or the green one? And he might choose a t-shirt that you don't like. He's going to wear it, not you. Okay? So you teach him self-confidence. Even if he makes mistakes, that's no problem. How many mistakes have you done? Let him choose. Because when he chooses, he makes a mistake that he will not talk. If you bring him something that he doesn't like, he's not going to wear it. Okay? So you let him choose. You say to him, son, here's 50 pounds. You go buy a pair of trousers, and you go and buy a shirt and you go and buy a pair of shoes. I can only give £50. So you can choose within a range of £50 and let him choose for himself. And of course, you let him choose his own wife. A young man came to me once and said, Uncle Abu Sondes, I have a problem. And I said, Khair, my son, what's the problem? He said, oh, Uncle Abu Sondes, I got married recently. I said, congratulations. He said, no, I don't want my wife. You don't want her? Where is she? He said, she's back home. Okay. Why don't you bring her? I don't want to bring her. Why did you marry her? Because my mother made me marry her. You think we can bring Islam with this kind of man? Baby, not man. He's a baby, he's not a man. Do you want your child to be 24 years old and be a baby? Or do you want him to be a man who stands for himself? There is nothing in Islam that says a mother can force a son to marry someone that she wants. Nothing in Islam. Okay? So how can your mother force you to marry someone? If I'm a good son and a faithful son, I might come to my mother and say, Mother, you know me more than any other woman in the world, and I want you to choose a good wife for me. And my mother will go and find a good wife for me. That will be my choice. Even though my mother chose her, it's me. I can say yes or I can say no. Okay? And I allow my mother to choose someone for me because I want to gain her blessings and I want to marry someone that my mother deems to be fit for me. A nice thing. But it's my responsibility. I am responsible. Not, my mother made me marry this woman. What's that? What's that? And even when it comes to education in this society, I ask a lot of young people in high school, what do you want to be? Doctor, 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 doctor. What's this? Most of our young children are not fit to be doctors. And if they go into medicine, they're not going to be happy. Okay? So let your children be what they want to be. If they want to go into art, let them go into art. If they think that this is how they are, let them. If they want engineering, let them. If they want management, let them. If they want to go into business, let them. You support them. You give them support. Quality time, very, very important. I'll go back to this. Because if you don't spend quality time and you don't have memories with your children, you come home late at night, you go to sleep, you wake up early in the morning and you go to work. When are you going to sit with your children? When are you going to talk with them? When are you going to find what they are and what they like and what inspiration? When are you going to play with them? The Prophet ﷺ used to play with his children, with his grandchildren. They would climb on his back. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Umar ibn Khattab, the great Amir, would be on his fork with his hands and knees and his children on his back, riding him like a horse. Okay? Spend quality time with your children. Share some memories with them so that they learn to respect you and they learn to come to you with their problems. And many cases, you know, parents come to me and say, I didn't know about this. Why didn't my son speak to me? Oh, he tried many times. He will come to you and say, Dad, how are you today? Oh, I'm good, my son. Now go and play, I'm busy. He wants to tell you something, but you block him. You don't open the door. He can't jump and tell you, I've got a problem, Dad. No, he needs to, you know, and you have to listen. You have to be there. This is how we invest in our children. This is how we encourage them to be self-confident, to depend on themselves, to trust themselves, to develop their skills, the skills that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed on them. Maybe your son can be a good doctor, alhamdulillah, let him. Maybe he can't. He doesn't want to be a doctor. Maybe he's an artist. He wants to paint or to sculpture. Or let them, encourage them. There's no shame in it. This is who he is. This is how he's going to be happy. Okay? Because if he has a job in which he struggles, he works hard, he passes by. Okay? He's not going to be happy. He or she. Okay? We need to understand that our children are different from us. Ali karramallahu wajhah, he says, رَبُّ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ بِزَمَانٍ غَيْرَ زَمَانِكُمْ. Bring up your children for a time other than your own time. Our time was different. We didn't have smart mobiles, we didn't have the internet, we played with homemade toys. Nowadays it's different, totally different. The education is different. My grandson, when he was 3 years, I think, or 2 years, his mother gave him a carton of orange juice, I think, or something like that, with some pictures on it. And I caught him trying to move the picture like this. 2 or 3 years, they know how to use the smartphones and subhanallah, different time. We have to bring them for their time. We have to prepare them. We have to invest in them, not for them. We have to spend quality time. We have to listen. We have to encourage. They say that in Africa there is a village. And this village believes that anyone who is born in Monday, any child who's born in Monday is going to be a success. Is going to be a leader. Is going to be somebody. Okay? And anyone who is born in Thursday is going to be a failure. A bum. Okay? And they found that this is true. All children born on Monday are successful. And all children born on Thursday are nothing. But then they discovered something else. They discovered that this is because of perception. You see, if your son is born on Monday, and he comes to you and he says, Dad, I need some money, I've got a project, I need £100, you say, MashaAllah, my son, you are showing promise from this young age, here's £100, here's £200, because I know you're going to be a success. MashaAllah. Your Thursday born son comes to you and he says, Dad, can I have £10 please? £10, why? Why should I spend money on you? You're a failure, you're nothing, you're going to amount to nothing. I'm not going to give good money, good hard-earned money to you. And therefore it is. It is. That's how it's going to happen. Okay? How many of us, really put down our children? If they make a mistake, we put them down. Okay? We shout at them. No, we should encourage them, even if they make a mistake. Have you learned from your mistake? Yes, alhamdulillah, that's my son. I want you to make mistakes, but to learn from them. Okay? But not shout at them, hit them, treat them in a very negative way, such that they, subhanallah, imagine in our society where we want all our children to be doctors. And then your child passes the exam. And he's to enter university, but he doesn't have the marks for medicine. And the only university that he can go to is accountancy, for example. He's going to university, okay, but he feels a failure. Why? Because he did not make medical school. He's not the medical type. Accountancy fits him well, but he has this stigma on his shoulder. I have disappointed my parents. I'm a failure. I couldn't. You have succeeded. You have passed your exams. You have entered university. MashaAllah. You're not a failure, but he feels a failure. One of the sad cases, an elderly man, he marries another wife, a second wife. Why, ya akhi? He said, because my parents forced me to marry my first wife. And now my parents, alhamdulillah, gone. Not alhamdulillah, they're gone. And I feel that I need to, to marry a wife of my choosing. What about your wife? She's been a faithful wife to you for 30, 40 years. Yes, but she's not my choice. What can I do? And subhanAllah, look at the problems that we place our children in. Look at the stigma we cause them. Okay? So investing in them means investing properly. Education, I can't highlight the importance of educating them, equipping them. One of the best sayings I've come across is that we prepare our children to be independent of us. But should they ever need us, we're there for them. And remember, when your son reaches the age of puberty, khalas, he is responsible for himself. You're not responsible for him anymore. You are there to guide him. You are there to help him. Let me tell you something else. I have come across many cases where the son does something wrong. As a girlfriend does something wrong or something like that. And the first thing the father does is brings out the red card, out of the house. Out of the house. Kicks him out. Where will your son go? If you get your son out of the house, where is he going to go? Tell me where.
Stray.
Stray. He's going to go in the arms of another girl or woman who will give him sweet talk and who will, That's what's going to happen. I read Surah Yusuf, subhanAllah. I read Surah Yusuf, Sayyidina Yaqub. And we always say that Yusuf alayhi salam is the son of a prophet, the grandson of a prophet, and the great-grandson of a great messenger, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. But we forget that his brothers also are the same. His 12 brothers, they are all the children of a prophet, the grandchildren of another prophet, Ishaq, and the great-grandchildren of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And when they threw Yusuf alayhi salam in the well and came back to the father knew. They said to him, the wolf has eaten your son. And Yaqub, he knew that that is not the case. If Yaqub was one of us, we would have kicked all 12 sons out of the house. But Yaqub didn't. He kept them. He kept them close to him. Why? In the hope that they will repent, in the hope that they will seek forgiveness, in the hope that they will learn and go back. Okay? So this red card should never be used. Many mothers also use it. The minute the girl does something wrong or the son does, the red card comes out. If you don't do what I say, you are going to hellfire. If you are not obedient to me, God is going to be angry with you. He's going to throw you away. He's going to do this to you. Would you wish that for your children? And therefore, when children come to me, they want to get married and parents are reluctant. I say, your parents at the end of the day, they love you. And they don't want to lose you. They just want to act that they are hard and tough. But if you persevere, they will come around. And that is the case. Most often than not, that is the case. Because you don't really want to lose your children. You don't want them to go astray. Sometimes you throw your son out of the house, and half an hour later you go looking for him. With your car, where is my son, where did he go? Did he go to this friend? And you are in tears. Is it not? We need to understand these things. We shouldn't force our children in any direction, boys or girls. When it comes to marriage, we shouldn't force them. We shouldn't. Let's forget our culture and our traditions and our especially those that do not agree with Islam. Okay? Yani subhanallah, yani I am saddened, for example, to learn that in London alone there are 800 mosques that do not allow women to enter. 800 mosques that close the door for women. Women cannot come in. Why? I don't know why. When the Prophet ﷺ clearly says, do not prevent Ama'illah, do not prevent women from entering the houses of Allah. No one can prevent a woman from entering the house of Allah. And during the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, they did not have a special door for women or a special room tucked away. Most mosques that allow women provide inferior service to them. The toilets are worse than the toilets for men. The wudu area is worse than the wudu area for men. And the prayer room is worse than the prayer room for men. These are the mothers of our children. Okay? Investing in them is investing in our children. Okay? So, I know the topic is long, and the most important thing is that all what I said is available on the internet, is available in books, is available in the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I can even talk about, for example, Abdullah ibn Zubair ibn al-Awwam. His mother is Asma bint Abi Bakr. His father is Zubair ibn al-Awwam radiyallahu anhu. Zubair, his mother is Safiya, the aunt of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How she brought him up to be a warrior. A warrior! Okay. Zubair was sent by Umar ibn al-Khattab to relieve the army, the Muslim army in Egypt. The general of the Muslim army in Egypt asked for 7,000. Umar ibn al-Khattab sent 7 people. He said to him in a letter, these 7 are worth 1,000 each. 1,000 ordinary soldiers. Zubair ibn al-Awwam. Okay? These examples, our literature, our history is full of these people. Okay? Muhammad al-Fatih, Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, Abu al-A'la al-Mawdudi radiyallahu anhu, Hassan al-Banna radiyallahu anhu. Our history is full of examples and how they Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, for example, just to end with this, Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, when his mother was pregnant with him, okay, his father was a prince, and his father was entertaining a guest, and the mother had some pains, and she sent word to her husband that she is in pain while he was entertaining the guest. And the father was very angry with her, the husband was angry with her, and he said to her, who do you think you're carrying in your womb? The liberator of Al-Quds? And she said, yes. In her mind, she said, yes, I am carrying the liberator of Al-Quds. And she brought him up to be the liberator of Al-Quds. Don't think Salah ad-Din was an accident. He was brought up to be the liberator of Al-Quds. He was. Okay. Do we bring our children to be the liberators of Al-Quds? Do we bring up our children to be those who will bring back Islam and the glory of Islam? We must. Okay. And that's why we need to invest in our children. If we keep investing for them, then they are going to throw away and waste all our investment. But if we invest in them, then they will be able to produce a generation that will bring back the glory of Islam. God's willing. Jazakumullah khair.